Today we're making a small stop at the Monocacy Battlefield here in Frederick, Maryland. They have a visitor centers here, and thought we would come and check it out. Some great views of the mountains, the valley here, some cannons over there. Yeah, I've never been into this visitor center before, and I think it's relatively new, so come and see how it is. We got a plaque out here going over what exactly happened in the Monocacy battle. This is a bold plan. You can see on this map, we've been to Harpers Ferry before. We just hiked there not too long ago during the summer. And it gives you a nice little tour of the battlefield here. There's a couple of stops you can make. They have a self-guided tour as well. Here you can see the pictures of the different spots. They have a farm, which is right across the street over there. It's the little white buildings. They have some statues, a couple more very old farmhouses. Let's get inside and check it out. Here we are in the inside. They got a little store here, little maps and brochures. They actually have one. Let's see if they have one of the park here. Doesn't look like they do, but they also have some more information here, and a great, very old map of the area. This is apparently a map from 1928. This is for the development of the Monocacy Battlefield, as they were restoring it for historical purposes. And it looks like they actually have a museum upstairs. So let's go check it out. You can see the museum gets its start here, and it lists some people who were really important in this battle. You can see this is Confederate Lieutenant General Jubal Early, and this is Union Major General Lew Wallace. It's funny, they both kind of look like Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee. It also gives you a timeline here. It gives you a timeline here starting at 1776, and I believe it goes all the way around. And then on the other side it ends when the National Park Service was established here at Monocacy Battlefield. And of course, Maryland was one of the few states that was actually quite divided. Sort of in the middle between the Union and the Confederacy, and had a lot of support on both sides. Of course, it states there that Maryland, Delaware, Kentucky, and Missouri were border states, slave states that remained in the Union. Very interesting. Stamp. A mouth harp on the left. There's a pencil made from a bullet. A clay marble and some chess pieces. Very neat. There's a cartridge box. You can see it has the U.S. sign on it, made for carrying ammunition. And down here, have another pack used by the Union. You can also see here conflict, and it lists what states were in the Confederacy and what states were in the Union, and some territories that weren't states yet. And here's some more about Major General Lew Wallace. He fought in the Mexican-American War. He was a former state senator. Interesting. Looks like they have a diorama here. Some actual personal items that belong to certain important people. Interesting. The desk there, as well as the inkwell, and the files on top of the desk actually are real artifacts that belong to people. You can see they have some more stuff here. They have a actual musket. This is an 1863 model, and this was a Confederate officer's sword. Down here they have some metal canteens and a $10 bill from 1864. It's funny how much it's changed. Well, actually that's a Confederate States of America bill. That's a really interesting artifact. Here it encourages you to lift a pack and try on some uniform. I probably won't try anything on. We can try to lift the pack here. It's pretty heavy. About at least like 20 or 30 pounds. And can't imagine being in a wool uniform in the middle of the summer, carrying all that stuff around and having to fight at the same time. Oh, you can see over here they actually have a telegraph and a decoding chart for Morse code. How interesting is that? I don't think I've ever seen a real telegraph in person. They have some more stuff here. I guess this is supposed to be a home in the basement of a home. Backyard to the battleground. Looks like this was kind of a diorama of someone's home that may have lived around here. Oh, okay, this is stuff from the best farmhouse over there. That's one of the locations that they list outside. And here are photos of John and Mary Best, who actually owned that farmhouse. Here's some very cool models. Press and hold for 2 seconds. Let's see what happens.
It is July 1864, the 4th year of the Civil War, and the northern grip has tightened on the Confederacy. On the Thomas farm and around Worthington House, the wheat is cut and the corn is waist high. Across the river, Best's barn is already full of grain. It will soon be brought over to Gambrel's mill. 2 bridges cross the river at Monocacy Junction, the old covered bridge that carries the road to Washington, and the iron railroad bridge of the Baltimore and Ohio. Last week, agents along this railroad were the first to report the advancing Confederates. They carried the alarm to Baltimore, the headquarters of Union General Lew Wallace. 4 a.m. The last troops are in place, and by now, Wallace knows the odds are against him, but he's made up his mind to fight. Hopeful to delay the enemy and give time for Union troops to reinforce Washington from Petersburg. The fighting is soon fierce at the junction, but with the brass howitzer aiding them, the Union defenders hold their ground. They counter the probing attacks so well that Confederate General Early abandons his attempts at a frontal assault. An alternate means is found when cavalry troops locate a crossing south of the junction. They will instead flank the enemy. Meanwhile, Confederate sharpshooters are put in Best's barn to pick away at the Federals as more Confederate artillery is brought to bear. This time the cavalrymen attack on a broader front and feel for the Federal left flank. The lines close to point-blank range. Fighting becomes hand-to-hand. The Federals are pushed back behind the Thomas house. But reserves are rushed in to counterattack, and they overwhelm the Confederates, driving them back a second time. With little time to rest, the Confederate main thrust came. A full division out of Frederick, crossing the river and forming up. The Confederate attack would be in 3 echelons. The first was to turn the Federal left flank, the second to smash through the middle of the line, and following it would be the third, sweeping up along the river to the bridges. The Federal forces fall back, as the Confederates keep coming like a sheet of flame. And then it was over, as the Federals retreat past Gambril's Mill, north along the river to Baltimore. They held as long as they could, and it was long enough. As darkness falls, Jubal Early's army encamps on the field, badly mauled and too late to press on. The Confederates finally reached Fort Stevens 2 days later, but by then Union troops had just arrived from Petersburg to stop them. Early and his army were forced to withdraw, ending the South's last incursion into the North. While it is true that the Battle of Monocacy was a defeat for General Wallace and his men, it is true only in a limited sense. For by fighting for time, he would write later, these men died to save the national capital, and they did save it.
Yeah, that was quite an incredible display there. What a neat thing to see. And you can see here they actually have some real artifacts as well from some of the cavalry. They have some sabers and an actual saddle. That's interesting. Some revolvers and packs. This is for Confederate cavalry. And it says here, honor and defense flags. You can open the door to view the flags. Wow. You can see, it says Nighthawk Rangers. 17th Virginia battle flag. Neat. And then they have some Union stuff here as well. They have a flagstaff top. That's very cool. And this is a real hat worn by First Lieutenant William Hawley. That's really neat. I have another piece here. It looks like this was they have another piece here. It's a frock coat and sash of Major Peter Brandenburg. Neat. Some sort of thing here. Hold the handle to the left to reset the race. Doesn't look like it's working right now. It's a shame because some of these light shows are very cool. You can at least see how it would have been. Finishing it off here, it seems like we actually have some pieces of reunion and veteran badges of these battles. And it seems like there are some pieces here from people who actually fought in the battle and who survived well after the Civil War had ended. Very neat. I think we have some pictures here of the dedications of some of the statues, and I'm sure there are some veterans here who were at that battle and saw the statue be put up. They have some great stuff in the store here. They have a monopoly of all the national parks. I wonder if Harpers Ferry is on there. Let's see. Yellowstone and Yosemite. How neat is that? They also have some replicas of Confederate currency here. Very interesting. I'm also a sucker for pins, so I think I'm going to pick myself up a pin here just to remember coming to this wonderful Wonderful visitor center here. And now I found more pins, so I'm tempted to get more. I guess I'll have to make a decision here. Picked out the pins I wanted, little commemorative stuff. Got another board out here with some diagrams of troop movement and stuff. And I think we might try to go stop by that farmhouse over there, just to check out and see what that's about. And as stated, we stopped by here at the Best Farm. Gives you a small map of where it is. Let's see. So we have the main house here, right there. The well house over there, and a secondary dwelling there. And this spot's known as the corn crib, and the stone barn all the way out there. And of course here you can see pictures of the Best family. It says they were caught in the crossfire of the Monocacy battle. Have some more stuff. Interesting. I don't believe we can go inside the home. You can see it was a very sizable house. Very beautiful and classic American architecture here. You can get some views of the inside of the home though. You can see it looks like they've been renovating it on the inside. It's kind of hard to see, but you see all the old wood and structure and how they've been keeping it up. I guess just to keep the structure standing. They have some cannon emplacements here. Now usually, I believe, when in a lot of these Civil War national parks you see these kind of faux cannons, this usually means that there was a cannon emplacement here, or rather an artillery placement here, pointed in that direction. And then you see here we're coming up on the well house. Looks like it's been locked up now, but I'm guessing there's a well in there. Oh no, seems like there's a very tiny door there with a lock on it. Can't get a view of the inside, but very neat. You just barely see through the cracks there. Very old structure. And then here's another neat piece. Coming up here in another neat spot in this farmhouse. This is a secondary dwelling. I guess you could call it a mother-in-law suite kind of thing. I guess the farmhands possibly would live here. Seems like they had some good fireplaces there. I'm guessing there was stairs at some point, but now they've been removed. Very large, sizable chimney here on the side of the home. It's a pretty big secondary dwelling. I mean, for the time, having a house this size with other buildings like this would be quite impressive. You see this spot even had a cellar, some entrances down at the bottom. Gotta wonder who lived there and what it was like on the inside. You can actually see some wasps have taken resident. I guess they, I don't think they work for the National Park Service though. Maybe as a security, stop anybody from getting in the place. Another big wasp. That's a sizable wasp nest there. Pretty. And they believe this was called the corn stable or something like that. You can actually walk into this place. Kind of a Great spot for some photography if you wanted to do some here. Another very old structure. See these huge nails, which I'm guessing they would have hung things on. Some just incredibly old foundations. I'm sure have been touched up over time. Yeah, this place is really excellent. There's a porta potty here, which I'm sure was not there back in the 1860s. I guess if you need to use the restroom at the best farm, there is a porta potty here. Another really excellent view here, just a wonderful field. It's very interesting when you see views like this to imagine these Civil War battles occurring and thousands of men pouring through these fields and gunfire and cannon fire. It would have been an incredible spectacle. There's actually a railroad over there as well. We're now entering the stone barn here at the Best Farm. We're now walking in to this very sizable stone barn. Wow. This is really something. Even a small window on the side there. Structures like this are really incredible to think that somebody built this by hand without any huge machines, cranes to hoist things up. They just figured out ways to do it, and they did it. You can imagine they probably put hay in here, or maybe they used it as a stable at one point. It was a very active farm, and I'm sure during the battle they probably took refuge here. Very big dirt compacted floor here. Obviously very old. Pretty cool. And then out the view of this window, you can see the valley there, some of the mountains in the background. That's really a great picture. So I think that's about everything we're going to see today here at the Monocacy Battlefield. There's a few other places you could stop by if you ever do take the time to stop here. It's of course I've been to like Antietam and Gettysburg in the area. I've never been to somewhere like this. But it's a great spot to just stop and really get a good look at everything. If you probably have noticed, I actually got a new phone, so the videos probably look quite a bit better than they did. But I think that's where we'll leave off, with the stone barn in the back, and off to the next adventure. I really love stopping by some of these national parks. I think it's something that a lot of people don't tend to stop and take in some of the sights that America has to offer. And really, especially in the Maryland area, we have some great ones with a lot of excellent history. So that's going to be it for today. See you guys in the next video. Actually, before I leave off, I realized I forgot to get a shot of the back of the house. Really get a look at some of the interesting architecture here. There's at least 4 chimneys. Keep the house warm, and a lot of these older homes, they're very narrow and thin on the inside, just to keep the heat in, because it would get so cold here. There's also a small shed back behind the house with what looks like there used to be some sort of, possibly another chimney here. Some cutout there at the back of the house. There's a door on that shed right there. Now you can get a good view of back of the home. Think of all the times, evenings somebody spent out here looking outside or just relaxing. Would love to take a peek on the inside, but maybe in the future they'll open it up to where you can walk around. Another gorgeous view of the valley here in Frederick. This is where I'll leave you off.